and the way that it moved, in that it's not like it wasn't like a person. It wasn't something that was like standing upright. It was more like hunched over type deal. And it had extremities, no leg. I mean, no fingers, no hands, no feet. Gliding, flickering type. I think that's the best type of description that I can give. Gray. And there were no like the facial features. I couldn't make out any type of facial features. It was sort of like this, like football shaped type figure, but I couldn't make out any type of eyes or anything like that. Like I said, I have trouble seeing from far away. I don't wear my glasses, although I should. But
What?
uh,
Why alien? It seems more like demon or like ghost, poltergeist.
Yeah, that's
What?
what I was
Why
gonna ask too.
alien?
you know what? That's a good question. I would, the terminology, the lingo. I should probably say extraterrestrial or otherworldly being or something like that. My mind just went to alien because it's like, hey, this thing's not a human. It's got to be
Have
an
you heard
alien.
of Jinn? I wonder if Jinn could be something that.
I got one question too. I'm sorry to interrupt. So nobody out of the whole mall tried to go up to these beings and try to like touch them or talk to them or nothing. No, not one brave soul.
Nope, unfortunately not. This is the time when maybe you wish a crackhead was around so that they would take the
No, I would have
first.
went.
Uh, Maybe you were the crackhead then. I don't know.
Yo,
um,
I'm Eve in the garden, bro. I'm biting the apple. I'm going up and touching that thing. Like I want
Right.
to
Like
know.
this is a once in a
I
Yo,
might
lifetime
Johnny,
die, but
opportunity.
I'm gonna figure it
yeah,
out.
team. I wish I was like you, man. I would not. Like I said, I was damn near
But if you
shitting
didn't feel
myself.
my thing
I'm
is if
not.
you didn't feel any fear and you didn't feel like this thing was trying to harm you or anybody around, it just seems to me like seeing some type of, animal come out of the woods is lost. It don't know where
This
it's
was no.
at.
This
Well,
was no kitten.
was there anyone trying to communicate with it? Was there anyone
That's what I
talking
wanted to
to
know.
it?
Yeah.
Nobody was trying to communicate. The time between the time where I first noticed the commotion and when the police came in couldn't have been any more than a minute and a half to 2 minutes, and that includes the time when like the initial commotion happens, people running away. It takes time for people to notice that this thing that they're seeing is not hostile towards them, right? It's
Right.
sort of like if you're sitting in your yard and you see a shadow in the trees, you're not giving yourself time to being like, what the fuck is that? You're just getting the hell out of there. So
My
people are
thing is,
just
did the police like my? I'm still questioning the police. So when they had the beings, like, how did they have them captured in the corner to like
so
without?
they didn't have them captured in the corner. Us, the people, like the civilians that were in the mall in that region, were eventually made their way like to a corner by the
Right.
door,
So
right?
did
So
they
like,
stop when the police came in? The beings from gliding?
no, they were still moving around like business as usual, right?
Like they
The presence of
was
the
they
police did not disturb them in any way, shape, or form.
so they just let
What
them walk around and they
what were the
obviously was they
cops
touching
doing?
things or looking
the
through stuff?
cops the cops were more so concerned about getting a perimeter set between us and these beings and then getting us out of the mall. So they weren't trying to engage in it. There were people pointing weapons at it, right?
Yeah,
But they didn't engage with it in any way, shape, or form. It was very organized,
that's
right? They had a
wild.
perimeter, right? A line of people standing between the people, like the normal civilians where we were, and these beings, a line of police officers, a formation in front of them, right? Of about 6 to 7 police officers that were standing to them staggered, pointing their weapons at them. And
Kind
then
of walking with them.
But
say it again.
Mo,
So
oh,
they
go ahead.
the police were kind of trailing along with them.
Yeah, they were sort of blocking us off from them and just getting us out of there.
So no
But
noises and nothing came from these beings.
No noises. They were silent.
Wow.
we live in a day of age where like we got whistleblowers about aliens and this and that, and it's more comfortable now to talk about these situations than ever before. But this isn't like military personnel. These are just average police officers. Like, why wouldn't they speak up? Wouldn't they
Yo, Keem,
say
let me address
something?
this one because I was just telling him before you jumped on. You should check out. I don't know if you saw the video of this dude who says his dad's actually running for like sheriff or something, and he was.
I have that video on my page,
Yeah, okay, so
actually.
check it
Yes.
out on her page because we looked it up. It's that he's actually this guy's like actually dude running for sheriff or whatever, and like he's talking to his dad, and his dad's going, "I'm not allowed to talk about that." And he's like, "Can't you just tell me anything about it?" He's like, "I can't. I'm not allowed to talk about that." It's pretty weird.
And he didn't know he was being
Oh, he didn't know
recorded
he was being
either.
recorded in that? I mean, I was thinking it was a setup, but man, now that all this stuff's coming out, I don't know
No,
what's real
no.
anymore.
So at the end of all this, the beings just disappeared, we're guessing. They just went
Well,
back to where they
I don't know what happened to the beings because I
so they
wasn't
could
there.
potentially be walking around still somewhere in the world.
Uh I would think that they're somewhat confined wherever they are. Or, like, I don't think that they're. I don't know what it was. I don't know
Right.
what it was, and I think if they got there, they have a way of getting back. And if they were
Right.
real and they could move like that, then I'm sure that they weren't concerned. Because, like I said, they weren't concerned about the people around them. It almost felt like it was like you're almost walking into a room of like you said, kittens, right? Like, to me, it almost felt like that, right? Like
Like they
these
were
things.
superior to us.
Yeah, these things were like running around them, right, panicking, but they were just kind of like, what the fuck is happening?
Right. Like, why are y'all doing all of this?
Yeah.
Now, I did notice that there was a lot of UFO sightings right before this happened. Like, there were some kids that were filming the skies in Miami about a week or so. Like, every night it was happening, they would see these triangle shaped disc figures in the skies. And then all of a sudden, this shit breaks loose. So, like you said, we don't know what's real, but hearing you and then hearing several other people that have told the exact same story as you, and y'all have no correlation, I certainly believe there was something there. I'm interested. I want to see it. I want to know where it's at.
Can I just say, man, the promo for this next Ghostbusters movie is insane. They doing everything they could think of.
Listen, if they end up getting numbers because of this, I want to check because
Right,
because
royalties, please. Royalties.
Can I ask
Nah,
a
I
quick
mean, there's got to be more leaks. We don't live in a day and age of
No,
secrets
but
anymore.
look,
And
there's like three different guys that I have on my TikTok page. There's a black guy that's wearing a yellow hoodie that came out and said, "Look, I just got out from the police department. Me and my three friends were being, questioned for like 24 hours. I haven't even had a shower." And he came out. You could tell he was like, "I'm scared. I really don't want to get in trouble. They told us not to talk about it. All kinds of stuff." There was him with the yellow shirt, the guy with the dad that's the police officer guy that wants to run for sheriff or whatever. And then there's another guy
yeah.
that's like him and his girlfriend were down in Miami for celebrating New Year's. And they were just in the mall shopping before they was about to go out. And he also gave his, account on it. So those are three guys, apart from Mo, that have told the exact same story. And they're not even from
Real
Miami
quick, did you
either.
see the graffiti guy as well?
I
So
haven't.
first of
I
all, the
haven't.
dude who says he was there with his girlfriend, he recanted. I posted the recant video yesterday after I had the big one that had,
Was he a
yeah,
black
yeah,
guy?
and he it was, but the thing was like his recant was like so short. Like he was like, yeah, I just made all that up. I'd never even been to Miami, and that's what made it all go
Yeah,
away.
that gives me Andrew Dawson.
Yeah, but then
You see what
the
I
thing
mean?
is, so I did this podcast yesterday, and then we showed the graffiti guy, and the graffiti guy talks about this box and like almost describes it like a hologram. But the weird part is that
Oh yeah, he drew it on the
his
paper.
description is very similar to what Mo said in terms of like no
Right, with
legs
the
and
dark
no
figure.
like
Right.
hands and no feet. That's what's kind of like
Yep.
kind of pulling me back into this. So either all you guys are connected, or maybe there is some.
Yeah, I don't think they are. And I'm being honest. Like, I don't. There's no way.
I have a quick question.
um,
In your culture, I mean, in a lot of cultures actually, and in your religion, I mean, there's something of like mentioned that it's a jinn, right? Like it's like
Yeah,
a
Jen and Ghost.
worldly being. Like if in our culture, I should say, right? Is that something kind of similar to maybe what you saw based on the descriptions that you've heard of that you've seen? Maybe it was that. Is that a possibility?
I I think so. I don't think that it's something that we could dispel by any way, shape, or form, right? Like I saw something that's not from this planet, right? Whether it's something that is religious, whether it's something that's extraterrestrial, whether it's something that is spiritual. Um, I wish I knew. I wish I knew. I think it would give me a lot of clarity because it's one of these things that happens to you and you sort of leaves you with more questions than you had before, right? You sort of feel lost in the sauce and you're just wondering what's going on. Like People think that this is fun, but it's honestly not. It's something that is weighing heavily on me, and it's something that's making me sort of question what it is that I saw that night. But let me get another speaker in here because I feel like there's more and more requests, and I would like to get more people to ask the questions that they would like to ask.
Giving is because supposedly in New York City there was a terrorist threat. So the response time for them to come to you, it was because of that, because they were prepared for some type of terrorist attack that was going to happen on that night. But that was New Year's. Now you're saying that it wasn't even on that date or New Year's Day. It was a completely different day. So that changes the narrative completely. And brother, I got to tell you, Mo, if this is something bigger that's going to happen later on, I just want you to be prepared for that because your name is going to be remembered in history as the first dude to come out and speak
Right.
about this and everything else to come out. Like literally, they're going to say, "Oh, you guys remember Moab that he came on X?" I hope you're prepared for that, bro.
My honest reaction is I hope that that's not the case, right? Because if that does happen, then that means some shit did go down, and truthfully, I'm not prepared for it. Like I said, I'm just some normal dude. I want to live my life. I want to do my own thing. I want to vibe. So I would really appreciate it if the world didn't
I can
end.
say on that front, Mo,
Hey,
that
hey,
sometimes you don't have any control over that. As somebody who was a normal dude a few months ago as well, but yeah, no, I can relate to you on that front, man. Everything you've been saying here tonight, honestly, if you're making this up, boy, you're starting to convince me, man.
Golden Globe.
hey, Mo. Hey, I appreciate you coming on here. Hey, quick question. Um, from the perspective of biological versus like electronic, your first impression when you looked at this thing, would you say that was biological or would you say it was electronic? With those two being the only options.
My first impression, if I had to, like, if those are the only two options and I had to pick one, I would say biological, right? Like I said, if it was, I was like 30 yards away from it at my closest distance, I would say that at that time, like if I had been close enough to touch it, I feel like I could have. And that's my experience, and that's what I saw. So I say that, but all things are possible, right? Because I don't want to assert that that I saw something because in that moment, everything's a blur. But if I had to put my money on it, I'd say biological.
The blurring that they had, would you say it was from like a mist or a perturbation of your vision, or was that, or they just weren't real resolute, real clear?
I think it had more to do with the way that they were moving. Like I
Okay,
said, it seemed like they were moving in a way where it was quick flickering, appearing and disappearing in
right.
very rapid successions,
That
right? That made it sort of difficult to ascertain exactly like what it was in that moment. Like it's
and
very difficult to pick out distinct features because of that.
Okay,
and that's exactly what made me think of the electronic is when you said that the way they phased in and out kind of it flittered.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
hey, I appreciate you coming on here and speaking out, man. I'll go ahead and drop off.
Thank you
Listen,
very much for your time, brother.
thank you.
okay. And I've been listening to this, and I think Ashton can attest to this, is that when we see front-facing technology from the military, is that they're actually 10 to 20 years more advanced than they think they are. And I've been seeing a lot of camouflage stuff that basically blocks out people completely and can also project stuff. Is there any possibility that these suits are like full body suits worn by soldiers that are projected? Kind of like the suit in the movie A Scanner Darkly?
I'm not familiar with that movie. The thing is, these things were bigger than the average human. So I think
But
maybe if it was an individual that was in something and it was projecting something that was much bigger,
right,
maybe
right.
that's a possibility.
Like if they're wearing structure underneath, like backpacks or bigger things, right? Like they would appear bigger than a normal human.
Yeah, but I think it was also like height wise. I think it would have to be some type of super sophisticated. But again, like it's the U.S. military, baby. I'm not saying that anything is beyond their means.
Yeah, but you did mention that they were phasing in and out through the windows displays of the stores in the mall, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so there were moments where you saw them that they could go through physical objects. So it wasn't just like the mall, but like I don't know what they call them, but like those flat displays that are in malls that like are maps of where they are. Nothing that's walking like explicitly through it, but they didn't seem to be prohibited or bothered at all by any type of obstacle.
Okay, thanks for letting me talk. And by the way, hi, Ashton.
Hey, what's up, man? Trying to think of more good questions for you, Mo. Damn, you got some good answers, man.
Of course, man. Take your time, whatever you would like to. I've invited some people to speak up. We'll start with anime.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
good. So you're either telling the truth or you're either the best actor ever. So either outcome would be amazing.
Oh, I got a good question for you, Mo. So let's say you're telling the truth right now. How much money would the government have to pay you to come out and say that you were all making this all up? Tell us the truth. Everybody has a number.
Everybody has a number. That's a good question.
Because I was thinking that dude to recant his
I
statement, probably like, I don't know, maybe like 5, 10 grand. But would it be more for you?
Oh no, it wouldn't take
Oh,
that much. Honestly, my honest question is the 10 grand. My honest answer is it would probably take something that would change my life and my family's life. I'm a reasonable dude, right? I've told my story that people that want to believe it will continue looking into it. I think that I've put out there what I've believed to see. That's a very good question. I don't know. Let's put 500,000 on it.
okay, government, if you're out there, you know
Pay
what it
off my
costs now
student
to make this
loans.
go
Give me a
away.
nice. Yeah. If the,
Hey, Ashton, I disagree with the way you pose that. Honestly, I would. There is no amount that I would take. There is no amount that I could be offered that if I saw what Mo saw, that I would not tell everybody that I possibly could,
well, I
hands
think
down.
my rationale here is that I've put out the message. And I think that this is it. There's truth to this, right? I saw what I saw, and I think that it's only possible to keep under wraps for a small amount of time, which is why I'm not too concerned with whether or not people believe me, because I know that in due time, um, whatever happened that night will become common knowledge. So I think that I've planted the seed I've done my part in saying what I saw that night. And if someone wants to throw a little cheddar at my way and say, "All right, don't speak anymore," thankfully there's been good people that have given me the time of day and have listened to what I've said and will sort of take this on and continue pursuing.
See, the thing about that,
I just
Uh,
feel like the only time I would take money is if my life was, if they come up to me and say, "Hey, we're gonna kill you if you don't recant." That's different. But just for me to be like, "No, I didn't see it," then
well, I think the reality of the situation is if you don't take the money, they're going to kill you.
well, true.
So be it.
so
Yeah.
the thing real
Sam,
quick,
Sam,
I
I
want to say,
am.
so the thing that's credible about that to me
Yeah.
is that I have a similar view about it with the stuff that I'm investigating, which is that what you get to a point where you know it's real, and then you're just like, well, it's going to get out one way or another, so why wouldn't I take some money anyway? Then there's this other aspect of it, which I think some people are kind of. It's hard to know until you're in those shoes where you experience something that's so abnormal that it kind of just shocks you, right? Where you start to wonder, like, can people even handle this? And if
Well, let's remember too. I'm 65. I think age has a huge
yeah,
difference here.
yeah, definitely.
I've lived this for 48 years.
I'm trying to put you down, man. I know you're a great supporter, and I appreciate you very much. I was mostly just making a joke, man. I know there's people out there that would not, they wouldn't sell out for anything.
All right, thanks.
You're a better man than I am, Top Rad. I'm like I said. I think that there are. I keep saying it right because I think that if someone was making it up, they'd like to come up and say, "Oh, like they'll never silence me no matter what." But like I said, just last week I was some guy that just had a normal job and just a normal day to day, like wasn't hopping on Twitter Spaces, wasn't doing any of that stuff. Just watched football and watched this fantasy football team cook, and that was that. So that's where I'm at. But I'd like to Melly Doyle. I see that you're
Hey, hold on a second. Sorry, man. You did call on me, but then Ashton spoke.
Oh
Um,
yeah, you're right. I'm sorry, Sam.
it's all good. Sorry to cut in front of you, Malik. But yeah, this is very interesting, and what you guys are saying. Now, some people might be saying, "Hey, how come nobody took pictures and stuff?" And like you said, the phones were off. Now, the actual story for this was that it was kids with sticks and fireworks. I think if that was the case, they would be able to take pictures and videos on their cell phones because they do that every time they do some stupid shit. So we didn't see any of that either. So I kind of tend to believe that's probably not the story. But wanted to ask you some questions. Did you? There was a story in L.A. Something similar, huge police presence. But the story to that was that they were planning a riot and steal shit from stores and stuff and all that. Did you happen to see that? It was probably like just the day before this one.
No, I had not seen that. You said it was in L.A.
I think in the LA area, if I remember correctly. And then also even this one, I did see it posted on here before anybody said anything about an alien. So I saw it happening, and I was wondering, like, well, that's interesting. It's probably connected to the LA story or about that. So I thought it was something about that. But then seeing the auntie lady, more videos from her coming up, it's pretty interesting. Do you and Ashton know each other?
I don't. This was the first time that I've had the pleasure of
Yeah,
speaking with
I
him.
not following
Okay,
him, and I
is
just I had read his post. Was it yesterday when I was investigating and looking at all these different videos of people claiming to have been there or whatever? But reality is, I thought Mo was just LARPing before I even joined the space earlier.
Yeah, because as much as I want to believe this type of stuff, I mean, I'm a huge. And I used to listen to Coast from way back in the day, and I love this type of thing. But I also want to make sure that we're getting the truth. And you're not a co-host right now, right? I don't know if I'm
Me,
like
I'm
not
not a
seeing
co-host.
correctly.
No, I
Ashton,
literally just joined this halfway in, and I feel awkward because I was probably asking questions that were already being answered by other people. People have just been pinging me in this because I happened to share this story. Was it yesterday morning? And it got tons of views. And Keemstar was in here for the same reasons. And reality is, I don't think any of us know what to believe anymore, especially after that one dude came out and like recanted his claim of being there or whatever. And I think people are looking at social media saying he definitely wasn't there. So it's
what?
There are
Yeah,
rumors.
one.
There's this guy that went around earlier through the mall and he was going in on live with his camera hidden, asking different people that worked at the stores what they saw. And everybody just looked spooked. Then there's this rumor going around that the feds, I guess, have paid off different workers not to say anything. There was this one guy that almost admitted to it, but then he got nervous and walked off. I don't know if you guys have seen that video, but it's going around on TikTok as well. He went in and actually tried to interview people and say, "Hey, what happened in the mall the other night? Were you here?" And everybody just looks crazy, like they don't want to speak about it. Like they've been told, "Hey, if you say anything, we're gonna off your whole family." So if you want to look into that video as well, so somebody has said something to somebody to not say nothing. If not, the people in the mall that work there, they caught some people on the outside. That's why I believe there's not more people coming forward. The
Hey,
people
so
that got away are the ones, are creeping out here and there, testing the waters to see how the reaction is going to be. But I believe some police got to a lot of people first.
Ashton, also you asked or you said to Mo, "Hey, let Keem up. He's got 2.6 million followers or whatever." How would you know that he wants to come up if you weren't a co-host or you're not in on
I'm
it
in a
with
chat. I'm
Mo?
in a chat.
Just
No, no,
wondering.
I'm
I'm
in a
trying
chat
to.
with Keemstar. Literally, because of what this thing yesterday, Keemstar started a private chat between me, Tupacabra, Jimmy Corsetti, a few other, I think, and maybe Red Panda Koala. And I pinged him and said, "You got to jump in here and join this," because I'll tell you perfectly exactly what I said, and I can prove this if necessary. I said, I want Keemstar to come in and grill this guy because I don't know if he's telling the truth or not. And that's the
Okay.
reality.
Okay, I'm trying to find out just like everybody else, man.
Me too,
And
man. Me too.
Mo, one last thing, and then I swear I'll stop talking. Mo, I think you said something about these creatures were like translucent. could almost see through them. It's kind of like almost a shadow figure, and nobody even thought of shooting at it. But then you said that the police were pointing weapons at it. I mean, I know in the movies, yeah, it looked cool, you're right, because you're scared, you're pointing weapons at it. But if it's something like that, I don't think the police would be like, hey, what the hell? You know, obviously, I'm not going to hurt this damn thing.
Well, I think that that's just their training, right? Like I have buddies that are cops, right? And I think they're trained when in any type of hostile or foreign situation, they sort of take their weapons out and they point it at whatever perceived threat they have. Now, whether or not they have the discipline to shoot or not shoot, that I think is a matter of person by person. But I think as a matter of just like across the board, I've never met a police officer that doesn't go into a situation or a foreign situation to them where they don't know what to expect without their weapons drawn. I don't think that's anything out of the ordinary.
And for Sam and maybe for the rest of the people in the chat, what I would say is this is what I said yesterday about it when I was in a podcast about it, because we were just, and I honestly, I was at that point just joking around because I thought for sure it must be fake. Is that there is some truth to this? Then I think the avenue for everybody who's interested here, wants to prove it to be real, would be to dig up the 911 calls. Because if somebody was able to get a call off, there's going to be a 911 call. It's going to say, I'm looking at a shadow being or whatever. Now, if all the phones got jammed before that, it might be kind of hard. But the other thing is the body cameras. So if we were to like FOIA the body cameras and they come back and they say, oh, we're going to deny that, that would be pretty sketchy, right? If it's just kids fighting with sticks, you shouldn't have any issue giving us the body cameras for it.
Not just that, but interviewing the employees at the mall where this is going down.
Yeah, somebody I
Right.
guess said they did that though, right? And they might get paid off. So that's like why I think
No, no, that was just a regular guy like trying to expose it because he was at the mall when it happened, and he's trying to prove to people because they were the same way that everybody's saying with Mo, they didn't believe him. So he went back in there and he was trying to get a store worker. He went into almost every store and they just looked like deer in headlights, like they could not talk about it. But then at the end of the videos, you could see he was like,